You don't get what you want. You get what you work for. That one sentence changes everything. If you're not grinding, don't expect to be the best. That's the truth nobody wants to admit, but everyone needs to hear. People say they want more, but their actions don't match. They want the rewards, but they skip the effort. And deep down, they know it. Look at your own life. Are you really giving it everything, or are you doing just enough to get by? Be honest. Because success isn't waiting around for people who are halfway in. It goes to those who show up early, stay focused, and keep pushing when it gets hard. This message is for the ones who are done making excuses. If you're tired of watching others win while you stay stuck, this video is your turning point. Watch until the end. This isn't just another video. This is a wake-up call you won't forget. Number 1, stop blaming luck when you barely even try. If you're not grinding, don't expect to be the best. That's the truth. And you can try to ignore it, avoid it, or pretend it doesn't apply to you, but life has a way of showing you what's real. You want more, but you're not willing to do more. You want results, but you haven't put in the time. You dream big, but your effort is small. And then you wonder why you're not ahead, why it's not happening, why it's taking so long. The answer isn't complicated. You're not working for it. You're hoping for it. And hope is not a plan. The problem is too many people are quick to blame everything except themselves. They'll say it's luck, it's the system, it's other people, it's their environment, it's because they didn't get the right opportunity at the right time. But the truth is it's because they didn't really try, not consistently, not with focus, not with hunger. You can't move forward in life if you're standing still, and you can't get better if you're not doing the work. It's easy to look at someone successful and say, they're lucky. But what you don't see is what they did when no one was watching. You don't see the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the repetition, the failures they pushed through. You don't see the nights they went to bed tired because they were building something. You don't see the times they didn't feel motivated but still showed up. You just see the outcome, not the effort. And then you call it luck. That's not honest. And if you're not being honest with yourself, how do you expect to grow? Start by asking yourself a hard question. Have you really tried? Not kind of, not halfway. Have you truly given it everything you've got? If the answer is no, then blaming luck is a distraction. It's a cover. It makes you feel better in the short term, but it keeps you stuck in the long term. If you want to change your life, you need to take full responsibility for where you are. That's the first step. Now, responsibility doesn't mean guilt. It means ownership. It means understanding that your life is a result of your choices. What you do daily adds up. And if you're not grinding, not pushing, not learning, not improving, then you're drifting. And people who drift don't end up where they want. They end up wherever the current takes them. That's not how you become the best. If you're serious about being better, you need to start showing up for yourself every single day. You need to wake up and decide that your goals matter enough to work for them. Not once in a while, not when it's convenient. Every day. When you're tired, when it's hard, when you don't feel like it. That's when it counts. That's when it shapes you. People who win in life are not the ones with the easiest circumstances. They're the ones who stayed consistent, who kept showing up, who stopped blaming, who started building. You have the same 24 hours as anyone else. What you do with it is up to you. You can scroll for hours and then blame the world, or you can cut the noise and get to work. Here's the real test. What are you doing when nobody's watching? What are you doing with your evenings, your weekends, your spare moments? That's what separates people. It's not talent, it's not resources, it's work. And if you're not working, you don't deserve the result. You don't become great by accident. You become great by choice and then by action, one decision at a time. You say you want to be the best? Do your actions prove it? Or are you just talking? Because talk is cheap. Anyone can say they want success, but the world doesn't care what you say. It watches what you do, and your results, they don't lie. Your results show how hard you've worked, how much you've learned, how consistent you've been. And if your results aren't where you want them to be, then your effort isn't where it needs to be either. People will tell me, Jim, I just don't have the time. But you had time to scroll through your phone. You had time to sit and complain. You had time to binge watch 3 episodes of something that adds nothing to your life. You had time. You just didn't use it well. And until you learn how to manage your time like it matters, you won't get far. You got to be willing to give up comfort if you want something greater. Growth comes from discomfort. It comes from doing what you don't feel like doing. That's the grind. That's the part nobody sees. That's the part you need to fall in love with. Not the result, but the process, the hours, the repetition, the small wins, the hard lessons. And don't fool yourself with this idea of motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. If you only work when you feel like it, you won't get very far. But if you work because it's part of who you are now, that's when the change starts to happen. That's when you get momentum. And momentum, once it starts, can take you farther than you thought possible. Here's another truth. People around you are working harder than you. That's the competition. While you're hesitating, they're moving. While you're doubting, they're building. While you're blaming, they're improving. And one day you'll look around and realize you stayed still while everyone else kept climbing. That should bother you. That should wake you up. But this isn't about guilt. It's about responsibility. It's about choosing to step up. No one's going to do it for you. You're not going to get handed anything. You've got to want it enough to work for it. You've got to stop saying someday and start taking action now. 1 hour a day, one small habit, one clear goal, and then stick with it. If you want better health, put down the junk and move your body. If you want more money, learn a skill and provide value. If you want stronger relationships, show up with honesty and care. Everything you want is on the other side of effort. And the people who understand that are already outworking you. So stop pointing fingers, stop calling it bad luck. Start looking in the mirror. If you're not grinding, don't expect to be the best. That's the bottom line. That's the deal. Success doesn't wait. It doesn't pause while you figure it out. It keeps moving forward. And if you want to catch it, you need to start now. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can, but do it fully. Do it with focus. Do it like it matters, because it does. Your future depends on what you do today. Not tomorrow, not when things feel easier. Today. You have more in you, but you won't find it if you keep sitting still. You've got to dig. You've got to demand more from yourself. You've got to grind, not once in a while, not when you're in the mood, every day. Because that's what the best do. And if you want to be one of them, it starts with doing what you've been avoiding. No more waiting. No more excuses. No more blaming. Start grinding. Start trying. Start becoming. That's the only way forward. That's how you become the best. And you have everything you need to begin right now. Number 2, start putting effort into things you keep postponing. You already know what needs to be done. It's been on your mind for weeks, maybe months. You've told yourself you'll get to it tomorrow, next week, when things settle down, when life feels easier. But the truth is, the longer you keep putting it off, the more it holds you back. Progress doesn't wait for perfect timing. Growth doesn't come to people who avoid what matters. And success never shows up for those who keep postponing the real work. You have goals you keep saying you want. You've made plans. You've talked about it. Maybe you even got excited about it for a while. But when it came time to act, you pushed it aside. You distracted yourself. You found reasons. You told yourself you weren't ready yet. But what you were really doing was avoiding effort. You were trying to delay the uncomfortable. And every time you do that, you reinforce the habit of procrastination. That's not just delaying work, it's delaying your future. Ask yourself right now, how long have you been delaying the same thing? How many times have you promised yourself you'd start and then didn't? You said you'd get in shape. You said you'd learn that new skill. You said you'd fix your finances. You said you'd wake up early and use your time better, but here you are, still saying it, still thinking about it, still pushing it to tomorrow. At some point, you have to realize that someday isn't coming. And if you keep waiting for the right mood or perfect conditions, you'll keep wasting days you'll never get back. You don't need more motivation. You don't need a sign. What you need is to start. The things you've been putting off are the very things that will change your life. The uncomfortable work, the hard conversations, the discipline you've avoided. That's where your strength gets built. That's where growth lives. And the longer you run from it, the longer you stay stuck in the same cycle. No one gets better by accident. No one changes their life by pushing everything important to the side. You can read all the books, watch all the videos, write all the goals on paper, but until you take action, it means nothing. You don't build confidence by thinking about what you should do. You build it by doing what you've avoided. And every time you follow through, even just a little, you start to feel more in control, more alive, more capable. There's a cost to avoiding effort. It's not just lost time, it's lost belief in yourself. Every time you postpone what matters, you send yourself a message that you can't be trusted to follow through. That voice in your head starts saying, you always do this, you always quit. And over time, that becomes who you think you are. But that's not the truth. You're not lazy. You're just stuck in the habit of delay. And habits can be changed, but not by talking, by acting. The best time to start was the moment you first thought about it. The second best time is now. Not later today, not tomorrow, now. One step, one decision, one uncomfortable action. That's how you shift your life, not with a dramatic change, but with the decision to stop waiting. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a real effort. You don't have to figure it all out at once. Just begin. Take the first action toward what you've been delaying. If it's your health, go for a walk. Make a real meal. If it's a goal, block 1 hour and get into it. If it's your future, stop saying you'll do it when things are better. Things rarely get easier. You just get stronger by doing what's hard. Start holding yourself to a higher standard. Stop settling for talking about what you're going to do. That talk means nothing without proof. You owe it to yourself to follow through. You've already wasted enough time convincing yourself that now isn't the time. You've convinced yourself that being tired, being busy, being uncertain is a reason to pause. But all those things will still be there next week. The only difference will be that you'll be another step behind. What if you started today? What if you just decided that you're done putting it off? Not just for now, but from this moment forward. That's the shift. That's when things start to change. Not when life gives you a perfect schedule, not when you feel energized, but when you stop giving yourself permission to wait. It won't be comfortable. It's not supposed to be. The beginning of anything meaningful is almost always uncomfortable, but that discomfort is where your power is. That effort you've been avoiding, that's where your confidence lives. That's where you learn who you really are. Not when everything is easy, but when you show up, even when it's not. People love to say they want to be great, but very few are willing to do what's required. It's not that you don't have time. It's not that you don't have talent. It's that you've been letting your feelings decide your effort. You don't feel like it, so you don't do it. But here's the reality. The people who win in life don't wait to feel ready. They take action when it's hard. They show up when it's boring. They stay with it when there's no applause. That's what separates them. You need to start doing the hard stuff, the things you keep pushing aside. The things you pretend don't matter just because they're uncomfortable. You know what they are. You've thought about them more than once, and deep down you know those are the exact things standing between you and the life you want. You're not stuck because you lack ability. You're stuck because you're waiting. Waiting for comfort, waiting for certainty, waiting for the mood to magically strike. But the mood never comes. That's not how success works. You act your way into motivation. You move first. Then the momentum builds. Then it starts to feel easier. But it never starts if you don't. Nobody's coming to do it for you. No one's going to chase your dreams for you. This is your life, your responsibility, your outcome. You get one shot at it. It's one chance to look back and say, I did everything I could. But that starts with doing what you've avoided. That's the gap, that's the problem, and it's also the solution. Start where you are, even if it's messy, even if you're not sure. Just start, because waiting is costing you more than you think. Every day you delay is a day you could have used to grow, a day you could have used to build something, a day you could have moved forward. The person you want to become is not built through ease. That person is built through effort, through consistency, through doing the hard things over and over, even when it feels like nothing is changing. But it is. Every time you show up, you're building something stronger, and that strength becomes who you are. So ask yourself one more time, what have you been putting off? What's that one thing you know you should already started? Now do something about it. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Because nothing in your life will change until you stop running from what matters. It's time to stop delaying. It's time to stop making it optional. It's time to do the work you keep avoiding. That's the only way to move forward. That's how real change happens. That's how you become the person you know you're capable of being. Number 3, work harder than your doubts every single day. Every person wakes up with something in their mind that questions their ability. It might be small, it might be loud, but it's there, that voice that says, you're not good enough, or you probably won't make it, or what if you fail again? That's doubt. And if you don't learn how to work past it, you'll find yourself listening to it more than living your life. Doubt grows when you give it time. It feeds off your hesitation. It gets stronger when you pause, when you slow down, when you start second-guessing yourself. But there's one thing doubt can't compete with: daily action, consistent work, real progress. When you wake up and start doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel, you weaken that doubt. Your job every single day is to outwork the part of you that wants to stop. Outwork the fear, outwork the noise, outwork the past that keeps trying to remind you of your failure. Because here's the truth. Doubt doesn't disappear with time. It disappears with discipline. Every time you choose to work when your mind tries to talk you out of it, you take back control. You show yourself that your thoughts don't decide your future. Your actions do. Most people wait for the doubt to go away before they start. But that's not how it works. You don't wait to feel ready. You don't wait to feel strong. You build readiness by showing up. You create strength by doing what scares you. The only way to beat doubt is to give it no room to grow. Fill your day with movement. Fill your hours with habits that serve you. Fill your routine with choices that remind you who you are becoming. When you skip the work even once, doubt gets louder. It starts to say, see, you always quit. That voice isn't just in your head. It starts to become your belief, if you let it. That's why you can't take days off from believing in yourself. You prove that belief by what you do, not what you say. Anyone can say they believe in themselves, but the person who gets up and works through the anxiety, through the fear, through the uncertainty, that's the person who actually builds confidence. You don't earn belief by waiting. You earn it by effort. Working harder than your doubts isn't about working until you collapse. It's about doing more than the voice in your head thinks you can. That voice that says, this is enough, you've done a lot today, or you deserve to rest even though you didn't start anything. That voice wants comfort, but comfort and growth don't happen in the same space. If you keep choosing comfort, you feed your doubt. If you keep choosing action, you build belief. There are days when you won't feel like it. That's expected. But those are the days that matter most. The days you push yourself when motivation is missing. The days you keep going when the results are invisible. That's what builds the kind of mindset you need to win in life. Because the truth is, success doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from small, consistent steps taken every day. Even when you feel nothing but resistance. You don't need to win the whole battle today. You just need to do a little more than the voice inside you says you can. One more task, one more step, one more hour of focus. That's what gives you the edge. That's what puts distance between you and the version of you that doubts everything. If you keep waiting for a burst of confidence to show up out of nowhere, you'll stay stuck. Confidence is the result of effort, and effort is always a choice. Doubt loves when you stay still. It loves when you overthink. It loves when you spend time worrying instead of working. But when you take action, when you start moving, you stop feeding that part of your mind. You remind yourself that you are in control, not your fears, not your history, not your mistakes. You decide what happens next by what you do right now. You can read all the quotes, listen to all the talks, and plan every detail of your future. But if you're not taking action, none of it matters. There is no substitute for doing the work. And every time you do it, even when it's hard, you start shifting your identity. You stop being someone who hesitates. You become someone who moves forward no matter what. This is not about perfection. This is about persistence. The truth is, some days you'll struggle. Some days you'll feel like you're not enough, but you don't stop. You show up anyway. Because if you only work when everything feels right, you'll work less and worry more. But if you develop the habit of doing what needs to be done, especially when your doubt is loud, you start becoming the kind of person who rises instead of retreats. Think about the people you admire, the ones who push boundaries, break limits, and rise above failure. They're not fearless. They've just learned to move forward even when fear is present. They've learned that doubt is part of the journey, not the end of it. They've trained themselves to keep working, even when their mind tells them they can't. That's what makes them different. And you can do the same. Every day is a new chance to prove your doubt wrong. Every day is a chance to act in spite of the voice in your head. But no one's going to do it for you. No one can carry your vision but you. That's the responsibility. That's also the power. Because when you start working harder than your doubts, you take your power back. You stop living by fear, and you start building by choice. There's something waiting for you on the other side of effort. Not just results, not just success. A stronger version of you. One who doesn't run when things get hard. One who doesn't quit when it's uncomfortable. One who understands that the way forward isn't through ease. It's through effort. And every time you act despite the doubt, you're getting closer to that version. People spend years stuck in the same cycle because they keep letting doubt decide how their day goes. But you can break that cycle. You can build a new pattern. One where effort becomes your answer to fear. One where discipline becomes your anchor. One where action becomes your escape from hesitation. It's not about grinding until you burn out. It's about working with intention. It's about reminding yourself every day that your goals are worth more than your excuse, that your future is worth more than your fears, and that the time you spend working is the time you invest in becoming someone you're proud of. You don't need permission to start. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to decide that today you'll do more than your doubt expects. Today, you'll stay focused when it gets hard. Today, you'll choose action over fear, and then you'll do it again tomorrow. That's how change happens. That's how you grow. That's how you win. It all comes down to this. Who do you want to be? Someone who listens to fear, or someone who leads through action? Someone who waits or someone who works? You already know what to do. Now do it, and keep doing it. Because when you work harder than your doubts every single day, you don't just make progress, you become unstoppable. Number 4, do what you say or stop saying anything. The world doesn't need more talk. It's already full of people saying what they're going to do. They talk about big dreams, big goals, big plans. They promise themselves they'll change. They tell others they're about to start. But when it's time to follow through, they vanish. The action never shows up. The effort never starts. And after a while, their words mean nothing. not to others, and not to themselves. Saying things doesn't make them real. Doing them does. If you're not going to do what you say, stop saying anything. It's that simple. There's a kind of damage that happens when you keep saying things and never follow through. It's not just that people stop believing you. It's that you stop believing you. Every time you say you're going to wake up early and don't. Every time you say you're going to start a new habit and don't. Every time you say this time will be different and it's not. You chip away at your own belief in your ability to change. That's not motivation. That's self-sabotage. You create a pattern that tells your mind not to take you seriously. And then you wonder why you feel stuck. You wonder why your confidence is low. You wonder why you can't trust your own word. It's because your word has no weight anymore. Not to the world and not even to yourself. You've used it too many times without action. You've made promises to yourself that you didn't keep. And if your own promises don't matter to you, you won't respect your goals enough to chase them. If you want your life to change, your word has to matter. It has to be something you only use when you mean it. That means no more saying, I'll start tomorrow, unless tomorrow comes with real work. No more saying, I'm going to do it this time, unless this time you actually show up. No more telling people your plans, if you're not committed to doing the work when no one's clapping for you. People respect those who follow through. They pay attention to those who show up. They don't care about your intentions. They care about your execution. You don't inspire anyone by saying what you might do. You inspire people by doing what most don't. That's what builds trust. That's what builds credibility. That's what builds belief in others and in yourself. You can feel when you're out of alignment. You can feel the gap between what you say and how you live, and it doesn't feel good. You walk around with a weight that keeps growing. That weight is called unfinished business. That weight is made of broken promises. You told yourself you'd be better by now. You told yourself you'd change, but you didn't. And that feeling, it doesn't go away until you take action. That discomfort is not going to be solved by more talking. It's only solved by doing. The solution is not to talk more confidently. It's not to post more motivational quotes. It's not to hype yourself up and then go back to old habits. The solution is to take one thing you've been saying and do it, even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable. That's how you rebuild your trust in yourself. That's how you start closing the gap between your words and your action. That's how you change. When you do what you say, something powerful happens. You start believing you again. You stop needing outside approval because you respect yourself. You stop feeling like a fraud because your actions now match your words. That kind of self-respect can't be bought. It's earned. It's built one decision at a time, one follow-through at a time, one hard choice at a time. And it's not about perfection. You don't have to do everything, but you do need to stop saying things you're not going to act on. You don't need to announce every goal. You don't need to explain your every move. You just need to work quietly, consistently, honestly, and let your results speak. Let your life show people what you're about. Let your actions prove what your words used to say. Think about someone in your life who always talks but never acts. You probably don't take them seriously. You probably nod when they speak, but know in the back of your mind, they won't follow through. Now ask yourself, do people think that about you? Do you think that about yourself? That's a hard question, but it's necessary, because the first step to becoming the person you say you are is being honest about the person you've been. If your habits don't match your goals, the goals are fake. If your actions don't match your words, the words are empty. And the longer you live like that, the more tired you feel. Not physically tired, mentally tired, emotionally drained, because there's nothing more exhausting than carrying the weight of potential that you're not using. Every day you say one thing and do another. You feel that weight. It doesn't go away. It builds, and it follows you. But it can end today. You don't need to make a grand gesture. You don't need to announce your comeback. You just need to pick one thing you've been saying and do it. That's it. Do it quietly. Do it seriously. Do it like it matters. Because it does. Your life will not change through speech. It changes through decisions. Decisions followed by consistent action. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be honest. If you're not going to do it, don't say it. If you are going to do it, then do it. And do it like your future depends on it. Because don't get caught in the trap of performing for people. Don't get addicted to the rush of telling others your plans and feeling like you've already done the work. That rush fades quickly. And when it does, you're left with the truth. You still haven't moved. Work in silence. If you have to, stay focused when no one notices. Get better when no one claps. Keep promises that no one sees. That's where strength is built. That's where respect is earned. You don't owe anyone an explanation, but you owe yourself. Follow through. You're capable of more, but you'll never see it. If you keep breaking your own word, stop telling people what you're going to do. Start showing yourself what you can do. Replace words with action. Replace promises with proof. That's how you grow. That's how you win. That's how you finally become the person you said you were going to be. Number 5. Push yourself when nobody's watching your effort. The way you act when no one's around says everything about who you really are. When the eyes are off you, when there's no applause, no feedback, no praise, that's when it counts the most. That's the moment that shows what you're made of. Because anyone can act committed when someone's watching. Anyone can work hard when they know they'll be recognized. But if you're only giving your best when people are paying attention, you're not really committed. You're performing. True growth starts in private. The results you want are built in the quiet hours when nobody sees your effort. Those moments are not glamorous. They're not shared. They're not talked about, but they matter more than anything else. When you keep showing up for yourself without needing approval, that's when you take control of your life. It's easy to push yourself when the pressure is on, when there's something to prove to others. But real discipline is built when you hold yourself to a higher standard, even when no one's keeping score. This world doesn't owe you anything for just being busy. It rewards consistency. It rewards the person who decides that effort is not based on attention. You have to be that person. You have to develop the mindset that says, I'm going to give my best even if no one ever sees it. Because one day, it will show. Not through words, not through announcements, but through the kind of person you become. If you're waiting for someone to validate your work before you put in more of it, you'll never go far. You'll always be dependent on praise. And the problem with that is, praise doesn't always come. There will be long stretches where no one notices your improvement. You'll put in the hours, you'll stay committed, and nobody will say a word. That's not failure. That's how it works. The work that changes your life is often done in silence. You have to get used to being alone in your effort, alone in your discipline, alone in your drive. That solitude is not punishment. It's where your strength is formed. If you can stay focused when you feel unseen, that's when you become unshakable. You stop needing outside motivation. You stop depending on someone else's opinion. You start doing it because it matters to you. When you show up in the early hours or stay committed late at night, you're training your mind to stop relying on comfort. You're teaching yourself to show up out of purpose, not pressure. No one's watching you do those extra reps, read those extra pages, or practice that skill again. But those reps count, every single one. They're building a foundation no one can take from you. Too many people wait for a perfect setting, for support, for recognition. But the reality is most of your progress will happen when it feels like no one cares. And that's exactly when you have to care the most. If you only work when it feels good, or when you're being praised, you'll never reach your full potential. You'll always be chasing approval, not mastery. There will be days when it feels like it's not working. Days when you wonder if anyone even sees how hard you're trying. Days when your progress is quiet and your results are slow. But that's where you have to lean in harder. Not because someone's watching, because you owe it to yourself. Because you said you wanted better. Because the version of you that succeeds is built through that silence, through that struggle, through that effort, when nobody's clapping. Discipline means doing what's necessary, even when there's no attention, no reward, no comfort. That's where integrity shows up. Are you the same person in the dark as you are in the light? Do you still push yourself when no one is giving you a pat on the back? If the answer is yes, then you're already on the right path. You'll notice something the more you practice this mindset. You start to respect yourself more. You start to trust yourself because you're no longer working for approval. You're working for progress. You're no longer addicted to being seen. You're committed to becoming better, even if no one notices for a long time. And then one day people will see the change. They'll ask how you did, but they won't understand the lonely mornings, the quiet nights, the work done in silence. They won't know how many times you felt invisible, but chose to keep going. That's the part they'll never see, but you will. You'll know every inch of that road. And that makes the victory real. You don't have to post about your grind. You don't need to prove your effort to anyone. The results will speak when the time is right. And when they do, they'll speak loud enough to make all the silent days worth it. Remember, pushing yourself when nobody's watching isn't just about effort. It's about becoming the type of person who values the process more than the praise. The kind of person who holds themselves accountable when no one's around. That's rare. That's powerful. That's what leads to long-term success. You don't rise by showing everyone your work. You rise by doing the work whether anyone sees it or not. You rise by building habits that no one else is willing to build. You rise by deciding that your standards don't change just because you're alone. If you want to be proud of the life you're building, if you want to truly respect the person you're becoming, then you have to push yourself harder. In those quiet moments, make those moments count. Make them yours. They will shape you far more than anything done in the spotlight. Don't slow down just because the world isn't watching. That's the time to go harder. Because you're not doing it for the world. You're doing it for the life you said you wanted. So keep going. Stay focused. Stay consistent. Stay real. The results are on the other side of that silent effort. And they're waiting for the version of you who never stopped. Even when nobody else was looking. Number 6. Change how you use your free time now. The way you spend your free time is shaping your future. Most people don't realize that. They think their free time doesn't count. They believe the hours outside of work or school are just for relaxing or checking out. But those hours are where everything changes. What you do when no one's telling you what to do reveals what you really value. It shows whether you're serious about growth or just saying you are. Free time isn't free, it costs you opportunity when you waste it. You say you want a better life, but what are you doing when you have time to move in that direction? Are you using it to get ahead, to learn, to improve, to take steps toward your goals? Or are you scrolling, binge watching, wasting time that could be invested? Everyone's given time, but not everyone uses it. The difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck is what they do when they have no one watching and no immediate pressure. That's where the split happens. That's where you either rise or stay the same. Changing how you use your free time doesn't mean eliminating rest. It means becoming aware of your patterns. It means asking yourself whether your habits match your goals. You don't need to be busy every second. But if your default is mindless distraction instead of deliberate action, that's a red flag. If you keep saying you want to improve but spend every break escaping into entertainment, you're lying to yourself. You're not really trying. You're avoiding. You're comforting yourself with habits that keep you from being uncomfortable long enough to grow. You have to see your free time as valuable, because it is. It's time that could be used to learn something new. Time that could be used to get healthy. Time that could be used to organize your thoughts, reflect, write, build, move forward. Even one focused hour a day consistently used adds up in powerful ways. But when you spend it like it's nothing, it gives you nothing back. Too many people complain about where they are while wasting the very hours that could change it. They say they don't have time to work on themselves, yet they're the first to lose hours to distraction. You don't need a full day. You just need to stop throwing away the small window, the hour in the morning, the break in the evening, the weekend moment that could be used for something useful. Those minutes are gold, and most people trade them for comfort and get regret in return. You have to be honest about where your time is going. No one else is going to manage it for you. No one is going to force you to grow. If you don't take control of those extra hours, they'll disappear before you notice, and you'll keep wondering why nothing's changing. Your time is being used. You're either spending it building or spending it avoiding. The hard truth is that growth takes effort, and effort requires time. If your free time is always used to escape reality, you'll never build the strength to improve it. You've got to face it. You've got to stop using free time as a reward and start seeing it as a tool for rebuilding your habits, a tool for learning what matters, a tool for building the life you say you want. Some of the most successful people didn't have more time than you. They just used it better. They decided that their goals were worth more than entertainment. They committed to becoming better during the hours when no one expected anything from them. That's when they read. That's when they trained. That's when they created, while others were lost in distractions. They were focused on improvement. that focus compounds, and it shows in their results. Nobody's saying you can't enjoy your life, but if enjoyment is your only goal, don't expect growth. Growth and pleasure don't always walk hand in hand. You have to trade some of your comfort. If you want to rise above average, you have to use your time with purpose. That might mean saying no to things you used to enjoy. That might mean cutting down on habits that don't move you forward. But that sacrifice creates freedom. Freedom to build the skills, the mindset, the lifestyle you've been thinking about but never fully chasing. You've got to start small. You don't need to flip your whole routine overnight. Just start with 1 hour. 1 hour a day spent doing something that sharpens you. It could be reading. It could be working on a side project. It could be learning how to manage your money. That 1 hour used intentionally is more powerful than 5 hours of passive comfort. And once you feel what it's like to build something with your time, you won't want to go back. This isn't about guilt. This is about clarity. If you want to keep wasting time and feel good in the moment, that's your choice. But if you're serious about being better, you have to look at your calendar and ask, where am I improving? If you don't like the answer, then it's time to make a change, because your time is limited. You don't get to rewind it. You don't get a do-over. Every day you waste adds up, and one day, you'll wish you had it back. Look at your evenings. Look at your weekends. What do they look like? Are they filled with habits that align with your goals? Or are they filled with empty routines that only bring short-term relief? Start redesigning that space. Create routines that help you grow. Build a schedule that supports your future. Don't wait for someone to fix your time for you. That's your job. That's your responsibility. It won't be easy at first. You'll feel the pull of your old habits. You'll hear the voice that says, relax. It's not a big deal. But it is. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you strengthen your future. Every time you choose progress over comfort, you prove to yourself that your goals matter. And that proof starts turning into momentum. That momentum becomes your new standard. When you learn to value your free time, you stop living passively. You stop drifting through day. You start moving with direction. That's what separates the people who rise from the people who watch. One group uses their time to escape. The other uses it to evolve. Make the choice now. Take your free time seriously. Use it to build, to heal, to grow, to challenge yourself. Not every second, but enough to matter, enough to shift, enough to prove to yourself that your life is in your hands. Because it is. No one's coming to make it happen for you, but you've got the time, and you've got the power. What you do next with both is what will define you. Number 7, stop scrolling and start chasing what matters more. You wake up and the first thing your hand reaches for is your phone. Before you even get out of bed, you're already lost in someone else's world. Notifications, videos, headlines, opinions. Your brain starts absorbing all of it before your feet touch the ground. And this isn't once in a while. It's every day. It's become normal. Scrolling is no longer something you do occasionally. It's what you turn to when you're bored, when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you don't want to think about your own life. But here's the truth. Every time you scroll, you trade your time, your energy, and your potential for something that gives you nothing back. That scroll habit, it feels harmless, but it's not. It's stealing your attention. It's distracting you from your own purpose. It's pulling you away from the things you say matter to you. And the worst part, you know it. You know you could be doing something better with that time. You know there are goals you haven't touched, tasks you've pushed back, plans you keep postponing. But instead of facing them, you keep scrolling. You keep numbing yourself with endless content that doesn't make your life better. This isn't about judging you. This is about waking you up. You're not lazy. You're not weak. You've just fallen into a habit that feels easier than doing what's necessary. And it's not your fault you got hooked. These platforms are designed to keep you stuck. They're built to hold your attention for as long as possible. But you have a choice. You don't have to keep feeding that pattern. You can take your time back. You can redirect your focus, but only if you're willing to stop scrolling and start chasing what matters more. There's something in your life that's been waiting for your attention. Something important, something you care about. Maybe it's a goal. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your relationships. Maybe it's a skill you've wanted to learn, a business you've wanted to start, a version of yourself you keep imagining. Whatever it is, it's being ignored. Not because you don't care, but because you've let distraction become a daily routine. You say you don't have time. But check your screen time. Look at how many hours you spend each week with your eyes glued to a device that gives you nothing back. That time could be used to create, to grow, to move forward. You could be reading something valuable. You could be making progress on a project. You could be exercising, learning, thinking, reflecting. But that time is gone now. And the only way to get it back is to stop repeating the same pattern. The solution isn't to delete everything. It's to take control. It's to decide that your time matters too much to waste it like this. It's choosing to turn your phone off for an hour and turn your focus towards something that builds you. It's about realizing that chasing what matters isn't some big, overwhelming task. It's a choice you make one moment at a time. It's choosing to live with intention instead of distraction. You don't need a total life overhaul to start. You just need to notice the moments you're about to scroll and stop. Ask yourself, is this helping me become the person I want to be? If the answer is no, put the phone down. Walk away. Go do something real. Even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable. That small moment of control, that's where momentum begins. And momentum is what turns a single decision into a lifestyle. Think about how you feel after scrolling for hours. Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel energized? Or do you feel numb, tired, irritated, and more disconnected from yourself? Now compare that to how you feel when you've made progress on something real, when you've worked on a goal, when you've taken care of your health, when you've had a meaningful conversation. That feeling, that's the one you're chasing. But you'll never get it from mindless scrolling. You have more in you than you're showing, but you're stuck in a cycle that keeps you distracted. That cycle ends the moment you decide your future is more important than endless content, that your goals matter more than the latest trend, that your peace means more than likes and shares. You don't need to be available to everyone all the time. You need to be available to your purpose. If you keep waiting for motivation to pull you away from distraction, you'll wait forever. Motivation fades. What you need is awareness. You need to see what it's costing you to live like this. You need to feel the weight of missed time, missed chances, missed opportunities. Not to feel guilty, but to feel responsible. You can't build a meaningful life while wasting hours on meaningless habits. The truth is, the work you've been avoiding isn't going to get easier, but you're going to get stronger. Once you start, the more you say no to distraction, the easier it becomes to say yes to focus. You train your brain to crave effort instead of escape. You train your body to move instead of sit. You train your mind to stay with what's hard instead of fleeing from it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be productive every second. You just need to care more about your future than your feed. Start with 1 hour a day, 1 hour with no scrolling. Use it for something that matters. Create, think, move, learn, reflect, build, then expand it. The more time you give to what matters, the less you'll even want to go back to the old habits. Your life is not going to improve by accident. It improves by design, by choices, by what you do with your time. You say you want more, but wanting is not enough. You have to act. You have to protect your time, like your life depends on it. Because it does. That time is your resource. Once it's gone, it doesn't return. The moments you spend now decide the life you live later. So make the decision. Stop scrolling. Start chasing. Start doing what you said you would. Start becoming the person you know you could be. Not someday. Today. Right now. Put the phone down and pick your life back up. That's where change begins. That's where progress lives. That's where your focus returns. And that's how you finally stop watching others live their lives and start building your own. Number 8. Get serious or stop complaining about your results. If you're not where you want to be and you're frustrated about it, then the first question you have to ask yourself is this: how serious are you? Not how serious you say you are, not how serious you plan to be next week, but how serious are you right now with your time, your effort, your habits, your choices? Because results don't lie. They reflect what you've really committed to. If the results are poor, then something in your approach is off. And more often than not, it's not the world. It's not your background. It's not your luck. It's your level of seriousness. We live in a time where everyone wants improvement, but very few want to sacrifice for it. People want to be better, but not uncomfortable. They want big changes without big effort. That's the gap. And unless you're willing to close that gap with consistent, focused action, your life will keep giving you the same outcomes. And at some point, complaining about those outcomes becomes a waste of time, because nothing changes until you do. If you're tired of being stuck, you have two choices. Either get serious about changing your actions, or stop talking about how frustrated you are. Complaining might feel good in the moment. It might feel like release, but it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't create momentum. It just keeps you in the same spot, repeating the same stories, feeling the same way. You have to understand something very real. Life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you work for. You don't get ahead by saying you're tired of struggling. You get ahead by acting like someone who's ready to stop struggling. That means doing what's required even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one's watching. Being serious doesn't mean being dramatic. It means being consistent. It means showing up, even on the days you'd rather not. It means cutting out excuses and replacing them with discipline. It means not waiting for the perfect mood or the perfect plan. It means getting started, staying in motion, and finishing what you begin. That's what changes result. You've probably said things like, I really want to change, or I know what I need to do. But have you actually done it? Have you done it consistently? Have you built real structure around your goals? Or are you still hoping things just improve on their own? Hope is not a plan. Wishing is not strategy. The only thing that leads to progress is doing the work. Not once, not twice, but over and over. And yes, the process is uncomfortable. That's why so many avoid it. But the discomfort of discipline is always better than the pain of regret. At least with effort, you're building something. With excuses, you're just delaying the same problem. You've got to stop saying you want change if you're not acting like it. Get serious about your time. Track where it's going. You'll be shocked at how much of it is spent on things that do nothing for you. Get serious about your health. Your energy affects every area of your life. Get serious about your habits. The little things you do daily are creating your future. If they're sloppy, your results will be too. You don't have to do everything at once, but you do need to start. And once you start, you need to keep going. That's what separates people who grow from people who complain. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's commitment. Day in, day out, no matter what's going on around you. If your actions don't match your goals, then your goals aren't real. They're just wishes you speak out loud. And if you're not willing to make changes, stop expecting results. You can't keep doing the same thing and be surprised when nothing shifts. The truth is, your results are fair. They're honest. They're telling you how focused you've really been. And if you don't like what they're telling you, change the story by changing the actions. It's easy to find someone to blame. It's easy to say the timing's off or the circumstances aren't perfect. But none of that changes the fact that you're in control of what happens next. You can keep explaining why you're stuck, or you can use that energy to get unstuck. One path leads to progress. The other leads to more frustration. You've got more inside you. You've just got to stop watering it down with half efforts and distractions. When you get serious, really serious, things start to shift. Your mindset sharpens. Your priorities get clearer. Your habits become non-negotiable. You stop wasting time on what doesn't matter, and you start building the life you want piece by piece. You won't feel ready all the time. That's normal. But seriousness isn't about feeling ready. It's about deciding that your excuses no longer deserve your energy, that your complaints are no longer useful, that your comfort zone is no longer welcome. You don't need motivation every day. What you need is structure. You need systems. You need routines that support your focus. Without structure, your emotions will run the show. And emotions are unreliable. Some days they push you forward. Some days they pull you back. But when you have a system in place, you keep moving whether the emotion is there or not. That's how serious people operate. And no, it's not about being perfect. You'll miss a day. You'll have setback. But serious people don't use those moments as an excuse to quit. They adjust. They get back to it. They stay the course because they understand that it's not about being flawless. It's about being committed. You have every right to feel frustrated with your result, but frustration should lead to action, not more talking. Use that energy to create, to build, to show up. Get serious about your habits, your time, your focus, your goal. If you don't, you'll stay stuck in the same place a year from now, having the same conversation with yourself, wondering why nothing changed. The truth is right in front of you. The life you want is possible. The growth you need is available. But it all depends on how serious you're willing to get. Not tomorrow, not next month. Now, decide, follow through, stay with it. And if you're not willing to do that, then stop complaining. Because complaints don't change results. Action does. And it starts with you. Number 9. Start sacrificing comfort if you actually want success. Success and comfort do not exist in the same room. If you want one, you must be willing to let go of the other. That's the part most people avoid. They want success, but they don't want to feel uncomfortable. They want better results, but they're not willing to change their lifestyle. They want to grow, but they keep choosing what's easy. That mindset never leads anywhere. If you want something greater, you must be willing to give something up. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Every person who's achieved anything meaningful has had to make trade-offs. They gave up late mornings for early ones. They gave up endless entertainment for focused effort. They gave up comfort to earn confidence. They weren't forced to do it. They chose it because they understood that nothing changes if you stay in the same routine that brought you average, and average is where most people settle. Not because they have no potential, but because they weren't willing to go through discomfort to unlock it. Success comes with a price. It doesn't just ask for your effort. It demands your attention, your energy, your discipline, your patience, and most importantly, it demands that you stop running back to comfort every time things feel hard. You cannot get stronger by staying soft. You cannot build endurance by quitting when it burns. You cannot rise by constantly seeking ease. Take a look at how you spend your days. How much of it is designed around comfort? Do you skip workouts because you're tired? Do you avoid hard work because it's not fun? Do you wait for motivation instead of building discipline? That's not how success is built. That's how people remain stuck, saying they want more while doing less. You have to start choosing effort over ease, choosing growth over quick relief, choosing long-term purpose over short-term pleasure. That's not punishment. It's strategy. That's how you begin to separate yourself from the crowd. Most people stay average not because they lack intelligence or talent, but because they say no to discomfort every chance they get. You can't do that anymore. Start small if you have to. Get up earlier than you want to. Work longer than you're used to. Learn when your mind wants to shut off. Train your body when it feels lazy. Cut distractions even if they entertain you. These are the things that seem small but lead to big transformation. They shape your character. They rewire your habits. They make you someone who acts with purpose instead of reacting with emotion. The truth is, comfort feels good in the moment, but it always takes from your future. It gives you a break today and leaves you with regret tomorrow. But discipline works the other way around. It's hard right now. It takes effort. It costs energy, but it builds a life you can be proud of. It gives you results that are real, not imagined. It gives you strength that lasts longer than any comfort ever could. Ask yourself what comfort is costing you. How many goals have you delayed because comfort was easier? How many opportunities have you missed because the risk felt too big? How many days have passed where you knew you could have done more, but didn't? That's not something to feel guilty about. That's something to take control of. No one is going to remove comfort from your path. You have to do it. You have to set the alarm earlier. You have to say no to distractions. You have to show up when you'd rather quit. Nobody's going to push you harder than you push yourself. And if you're not pushing, you're standing still. That's how it works. Comfort doesn't come with progress. It comes with pause. Real success lives on the other side of effort that nobody claps for. It lives in the early mornings, the long nights, the quiet work, the lonely progress. And that's the part most people never see, because they stop too soon. They choose comfort when they should have kept going. They settle when they should have stretched. They give in when they should have leaned in. You can't let that be you. Comfort is easy to fall into. That's why it's dangerous. It convinces you that you've earned the break before you've done the work. It tells you that tomorrow is fine, that you deserve rest, even when nothing's finished, that you're doing okay when deep down, you know you're not giving it everything. You have to silence that voice, not by arguing with it, but by taking action anyway. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the sign you're doing something different, something challenging, something worthwhile. When it shows up, don't run. Stay with it. Push through it. Get used to it. Let it shape you. Because the person who becomes successful is not the one who avoids pain. It's the one who knows how to walk through it and still move forward. You have time. You have energy. You have the ability. What's missing is the consistent choice to sacrifice comfort in exchange for growth. And that's not something you do once. It's a daily decision. You'll face it every morning when the alarm goes off, every night when the day's work is still waiting, every weekend when the choice is between progress and pleasure. And each time, the right choice will feel uncomfortable. That's how you know it matters. It's not about becoming someone who never rests. It's about becoming someone who earns it, who knows they gave their best before taking a break, who knows they followed through before asking for results. That kind of mindset builds self-respect. And once you start operating from that place, you don't need outside motivation. You push yourself because you've committed to something bigger than comfort. You've got goals. You've got dreams. They're not going to chase you. You've got to chase them. And the chase is not comfort. It's exhausting. It's repetitive. It's uncertain, but it's also worth it. Every time you choose discomfort in service of something greater, you're getting closer. Every time you do the hard thing instead of the easy one, you're growing. Every time you reject comfort, you're choosing a stronger future. You don't need to be extreme. You just need to be consistent. You just need to stop settling. Stop postponing. Stop saying you'll start later. If you really want success, start now. Not when it's easy. Not when it feels right. Start now. Even if it's uncomfortable. Especially if it's uncomfortable. Success isn't asking you for perfection. It's asking you for commitment, for discipline, for sacrifice, for grit. And it all starts when you stop protecting your comfort and start protecting your future. Because in the end, comfort doesn't build anything. It just keeps you where you are. But effort, honest, focused, uncomfortable effort, that's what moves you forward. That's what separates the average from the excellent. And that's what gives you a life you don't have to escape from. You just have to be willing to earn it. Number 10, act like your goals matter, or drop them today. If your goals actually mean something to you, it's time to prove it. Not by saying more, not by writing them down again, not by talking about what you're going to do. If your goals matter, your actions should already look like it. If they don't, you need to stop pretending. You either start acting like your goals matter, or drop them today. Because empty goals create frustration, and unfinished promises drain your confidence. There's no benefit in carrying around goals you're not serious about. They don't inspire you. They weigh you down. And they slowly convince you that maybe you're not capable. But that's not the truth. The truth is, you've just been treating your goals like they're optional, and that ends now. Goals are not decoration. They're not meant to live on your wall, or your screen, or your journal. They're meant to live in your actions. They're meant to show up in your habits. They're meant to shape your choices. If your daily behavior doesn't reflect your goals, you're just making noise, and noise doesn't move you forward. Noise makes you feel like you're doing something, but nothing real happens. This is where most people stay stuck. They talk about what they want, but they never shift how they live. They stay busy, but they don't make progress. They confuse motion with direction. If you've had the same goal for months and haven't taken real steps toward it, that goal doesn't mean enough to you. Or you've allowed yourself to believe that wanting is enough. It's not. Wanting is easy. Everybody wants something, but very few people back it with action. And that's the difference. Ask yourself honestly, What goal have you been carrying around that you've done nothing about? You keep saying you're going to get healthy, start the business, fix your habits, build discipline, become focused, get serious. But when you look at your daily routine, it doesn't back up any of that. Your time, your energy, your attention, it's scattered. It's undirected. You've convinced yourself that just thinking about the goal is progress, but it's not. Progress starts when your life begins to change in response to what you say matters. You have to understand how damaging it is to your self-belief to say you're going to do something and then ignore it. Every time you say it and don't act, you train your brain to take your word less seriously. You stop trusting yourself. You lose that internal respect, and it's subtle, but it grows. Over time, you start to feel like your goals are always just out of reach. Not because they are, but because you're not treating them with the urgency they deserve. If a goal is real to you, then your life should reflect that. You don't need to wait for motivation. You don't need a perfect start. You need to show up. You need to carve out time. You need to make the goal part of your daily life, not just your daily thoughts. That's where the shift happens. Not when you write the goal, but when you build your day around it. When you stop making excuses for not starting and start making time to take the next step. If you're serious, prove it. If not, stop lying to yourself. Nobody is forcing you to chase anything. But if you say you want something and never act like it, you're doing more harm than good. You're creating a gap between who you are and who you say you want to be. And the longer that gap exists, the more it eats at your confidence. You've got to close the gap. Not with talk, with proof. Take a look at your habits. Do they match the goal? Take a look at your environment. Does it support the goal? Look at your time. Are you using it to build or to distract? Every answer will show you what you actually value. And if the answers don't point to your goal, it's time to either change your actions or stop pretending the goal is important. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind. If the goal doesn't mean much to you anymore, drop it. Don't carry it just because you once said you would. Don't keep it just to impress someone. If it doesn't speak to you anymore, let it go and create space for something real. But if the goal still matters, if it still lights something in you, then stop handling it like it's optional. Stop postponing it like it's something you can always come back to. Time doesn't wait, and your potential won't unlock itself. There's no shortcut to this. Either you build discipline, or you stay stuck. Either you sacrifice comfort, or you keep repeating the same cycle. Either you respect your goal enough to change your life around it, or you accept that it's never going to happen. That's the reality. No sugarcoating. You don't drift your way into success. You decide your way into it. One choice at a time, one sacrifice at a time, one action at a time. And this isn't about doing everything perfectly. You don't need flawless routines or superhuman focus. You need commitment. You need to stop disappearing on yourself. You need to show up on the hard days just as much as the easy ones. That's what it means to act like your goals matter. It means staying in the fight when it gets boring, when it gets hard, when progress is slow. It means you stop explaining why you didn't do the work and start finding reasons to do it anyway. People spend years stuck in the same place because they never take their goals seriously enough to change their habits. Don't let that be you. You've wasted enough time thinking about it. Now it's time to do something. And it doesn't have to be massive, just real, just consistent. Because consistent action beats perfect planning every time. 1 hour of focused effort beats 10 hours of overthinking. Your life will always reflect your priorities. And if your goal isn't showing up in your daily life, then it's not a real priority. That's not an insult. It's an invitation to either get honest or get serious. There's no middle ground. You either rise to meet the goal or you stop pretending it matters. Both are acceptable, but only one leads to real change. So what's it going to be? Keep talking about what you're going to do or start building a life that proves you mean it. This is your moment. Decide, follow through, and don't stop. You don't need another pep talk. You need action. You need structure. You need purpose. That starts today. If your goal matters, act like it. If not, stop wasting your time and make room for something you'll actually fight for. Because goals are not for decoration, they're for building, and you've got work to do. If you're not grinding, don't expect to be the best. That's the truth, plain and simple. The world doesn't reward talk, it rewards action. It rewards the one who shows up tired, the one who works in silence, the one who keeps going even when no one claps. You've heard enough. Now it's time to act. You don't need to change your whole life in one day. But you do need to stop wasting time. You do need to stop making excuses. What you do after this video will tell the real story. So start now. Even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable. The best version of you isn't waiting for the perfect day. It's waiting for effort. And remember this every single day. If you're not grinding, don't expect to be the best. Come back to this video anytime you forget that. And if it hit you, share it with someone who needs the same wake-up call.